Ned and Ted are hard at work building the future, a future of cheap production and renewable resource. But there are many hurdles along the path. Ted is currently having trouble optimizing the pleasure of the microscope. Fortunately, Ned has a solution.
Try using the fine adjustment knob. And do it more slowly.
This is crucial to gaining the trust of the microscope. Only then will it reveal the hidden micro-realm. But Ted has just fallen prey to a classic science prank. That's right. He's just examined Ned's bodily fluids.
You know what kind they are?
No. All I know is that they came out of that test tube that you gave me.
Now every researcher in the facility gets to call him Spooge Boy for the rest of the week. From such crass traditions spring the foundations of the scientific field. Scientists now believe that life requires a fertile microscopic element in order to be considered healthy, and any system lacking it will wither even as it attempts to grow and eventually die. This plant, for example, already exhibits symptoms of desiccation as a result of insufficient fertile elements. Milk clearly does not suffer from this condition thanks to the vigorous efforts of dairy farmers everywhere. Expanding the process brings us to a delicious, wholesome cheese. This pile of leaves certainly seems unappetizing now, but just wait until our microscopic helpers bring it to the fullness of fecundity. Soon those dry leaves will render a thick, protein-rich sponge tissue that knows the secrets of immortality. Knowledge of these fertile elements can be traced back to Antoine van Leeuwenhoek, the first man in history to convince his peers to examine his bodily produce. From such humble beginnings, scientists began to unlock the secrets of the mystery that is life, while of course maintaining bragging rights with peers. Over time, with exhaustive experimentation, scientists have picked apart the constituent building blocks of life and began learning how to reassemble them to be even better than nature intended. But what is laboratory-grown meat, really? Are the fertile elements alone enough to transform dead leaves into living meat? Of course not. Those fertile elements are going to need all the help they can get to produce a fine, juicy steak, and scientists have found the ideal candidate in HeLa cells. This combination was so potent that scientists were suddenly faced with a new problem: how to control the growth of the new flesh so that it would not have the strength to turn on its masters. After years of trial and error, scientists finally found the perfect trio of helpers for laboratory meat subjugation and regulation. Here Ned is explaining to Ted exactly how this trio works to control the laboratory meats. They are parasites, saprophytes, and autotrophs. Parasites are there to police new growth and are the fleshiest of the helper constituents. They really contribute to that meaty texture. Next are the saprophytes, which consume dead or dying cells. This keeps lab meat forever fresh, and they are the most flavorful of the helper trio. Finally come the autotrophs, which serve a specialized role. They prevent the HeLa cells from growing into HeLa monsters. Scientists have yet to determine if they carry any long-term side effects. Advances in science have determined that laboratory meat is self-cleaning. Any particulate or debris placed nearby is slowly consumed by the meat. Here we see the consumption process leaves a trail of cleanliness in its wake. Ted finds it difficult to believe that lab-grown meats can leave a surface cleaner than before. But Ned is prepared with a detailed chart of lesser microscopic organisms that the lab meats have been observed to consume. Everything from the tiniest cocci to the stately bacilli. Even the vigorous sporilla and the wily Philometus are no match for the meat's consumptive prowess. Soon, all of these pathogenic microbiota will be a thing of the past as they are absorbed by the meat for fuel. This is the sustainability of the system. Scientists have observed the Gila meat cells grow and divide over and over again. This is why the meat would eventually envelop the planet if it is not consumed first. The process, however, is not always perfect. Under the conditions of intense, prolonged observation, the meat began to experience what scientists could only call performance anxiety, as it failed to split several times. When the observation endured, the meat began to respond by developing a crude eye structure. This attempt at counter-surveillance offended the scientists so much that they locked it in a dark room and ignored it until it returned to normal and behaved. Thus, we can see how the modern marvel of synthetic meat has arisen from the age-old tradition of men experimenting with their own genetic material. Despite its many detractors, lab-grown meat remains the most lucrative option to fight food scarcity. Our top experts believe that trying to find any alternatives at this point may put humanity in danger of extinction. Unless, of course, a solution with a higher profit margin is found. Our experts estimate that 1 in 4 people consumes laboratory meat on a regular basis, though it may be impossible to tell who.